And Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky joins me now. Senator, thanks for being here. I want you to listen to what the head of the National Security Agency just told Congress minutes ago about how important this type of surveillance is in stopping terrorist attacks, specifically in the 2009 attempted attack by Najibullah Zazi. Take a listen.
The phone numbers on Zazi were the things that then allowed us to use the business records, FISA, to go and find out connections from Zazi to other players throughout the community, specifically in New York City.
So, Senator Paul, we've heard this claim, but there it is, the director of the NSA saying it on the record. If it weren't for this type of surveillance, who knows how many thousands of New Yorkers would have died. What's your response?
You know, I think there's a little bit of a credibility gap with the intelligence agencies in our country. They frankly lied to us in open testimony in committee and said they weren't collecting any data, when in fact, not only were they collecting data, billions of bits of it. So I don't know what to believe. I have read news reports, though, that Zazi was connected to a guy named Abid Nasir, who was captured and interrogated several months before. My question, if they would answer, would be, did they get Zazi's name from Nasir? Did they get it from looking at phone calls that Nasir was making? I'm not opposed to searching the phone records of people we think are terrorists. You go to a judge, it's not that difficult of a bar. You get phone records from Nasir. If Nasir's calling Zazi, you get Zazi. Then if Zazi's calling other people, you get warrants for those people. But that does not require the phone records of everybody who makes a phone call in this country. That, I think, is a generalized warrant and unconstitutional.
Well, I think the argument from the National Security Agency, just to play devil's advocate here, would be a lot of these calls and relationships are in the past tense, and by storing up this data as they get it, they can then go back and look at it once they know where to look. Your response to that?
If they want to release all the phone calls that Nasir made to Zazi and let us know and prove to the American public that none of those were from going forward and that couldn't have been gotten with a warrant, I suspect that they love these programs so much that sometimes the truth may be stretched. I don't know, because most of this is classified information. But I would also tell you that even though we're trolling through 1 billion phone calls a day, we're still having attacks because of poor police work. Boston Marathon bomber went back to Chechnya. How come we didn't know that? The underwear bomber that came from Nigeria, his dad reported him and he still got on a plane and came here. So I would say that good old-fashioned police work needs to be a little more thorough, and that those who argue, well, we can catch people if we just do this. If we put a microchip in every baby born, we could follow everybody better. Or if we said, well, crime is committed by people who live in apartments, why don't we put cameras in everyone's apartments? You could go for zero tolerance of any kind of crime, but you'd be giving up your freedom. Our founding fathers said warrants have to be specific to the person in place. Generalized warrants, I think, are unconstitutional.
Your father, retired Congressman Ron Paul, said this on Fox Business News.
I'm worried about somebody in our government might kill them with a cruise missile or a drone missile. I mean, we live in a bad time where American citizens don't even have rights and that they can be killed. But the gentleman is trying to tell the truth about what's going on.
That's your father talking, obviously, about Ed Snowden, who leaked all this information. Are you concerned that Snowden might be killed by a drone attack? Are you concerned about his safety?
You know, I have not heard of anything other than there were some reports of people overhearing conversations about eliminating him in an airport. I don't know what to make of all of that. I do know that committing civil disobedience is a big step forward, and history has treated people in various fashions. Some people commit civil disobedience have been treated heroes, some have not. I think it's an interesting parallel to see, will we treat the head of intelligence who lied in open committee? How will history treat him? And how will history treat the person who was trying to defend the Fourth Amendment? I think that's still open to be said. I think there do need to be rules, that being said, about people not revealing secrets, and I think the divulging of all kinds of secrets that endanger lives is wrong. But in this case, I think it was divulging a program that I think clearly there are constitutional questions about, and for which the Director of Intelligence frankly lied to the U.S. Senate and said, we're not collecting any data on any Americans, when in fact they're doing 1 billion pieces of data every day.
There's talk that you want to take legal action against the NSA surveillance programs. What exactly are you going to do?
There's 86 different privacy groups that are interested in the Bill of Rights and the Fourth Amendment and due process, frankly. There was a time in our country when a black man could have been strung from the nearest tree, when a Japanese American could have been taken. This is what happens when you don't have due process. We're very concerned about due process. We're going to bring a challenge in court that says that generalized warrants, that warrants on everybody don't and are not essentially consistent with the Fourth Amendment. We'll be having a press conference tomorrow on Capitol Hill with a lot of these different privacy groups that want to defend your civil liberties.
And lastly, sir, I know immigration reform is a big issue that you've been involved in. The Gang of Eight pushing this reform bill has not won you over yet. You have introduced a bill that would have border security and allow Congress to assess how border security is going before allowing there to be any sort of citizenship or progress made on that front. What do you say to your critics on the right who say you are caving on this issue because you are still allowing a process to proceed before the border is absolutely secured?
I would say that my position is actually I won't let it proceed until the border is secure. I let the bill proceed, but I'm not for passing a bill unless border security is primary and foremost. What I would say, though, to critics on the right is if we do nothing, 10 million people came over the last 15 years. There'll be 10 million more people who come illegally. I want people to be part of the system. I also want to treat these people with respect and dignity. And if you want to work in our country, I think we can find a place for you. But it has to be part of a bill that they make acceptable to people like me or conservatives. So far, they haven't come to me and said, we'll make the bill stronger.
All right, Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, thanks so much for coming and sharing your views.